zucchini with crispy garlic chili oil. Veggies have become basically just like blank canvas for anything. Hey Yaki Gang, Yakitori guy here. So far in our lessons, we have been making skewers mainly using chicken parts. As the word yakitori means grilled chicken, you're generally only going to find chicken skewers along with maybe quail egg and some duck breast, as they're both tori at dedicated yakitori shops in Japan. However, you'll still be served maybe one or two vegetable items, mainly as a palate cleanser or just a light break in between the chicken items. Now these vegetable skewers, they might simply be grilled on its own, or oftentimes they're going to be dressed to enhance that natural essence of that vegetable. So today I wanted to show you guys how I skewer, grill, and garnish my favorite vegetable items that I like to eat and serve at my yakitori dinners. Alright, so we have here some green onion, shiitake, zucchini, got eggplants, and shishito. So I like to serve vegetables as a palate cleanser during my dinners, but I wanted to do this lesson too because Yaki Gang have been asking about how to skewer specific vegetables, or just asking what are some alternative items that they can serve to maybe their friends or family who don't eat chicken. So here's some vegetable items that I want to cut today. Alright, we have all the vegetables here. They've all been washed and dried, and let's start with the simplest ones to cut in skewers. I got here the eggplant, the nasubi, and cut them to about 1 centimeter width. Cut them wider, they're gonna take a little bit longer to cook, and if you cut them any thinner, they are going to be splitting when you skewer them. And skewer them, always remember, skewer them in the cutting board. Don't do it mid-air. Just get them into the center as much as possible. Align them and push through and get them into that center. Same thing with this one. Same thing with these zucchinis, about 1 centimeter. I like to put sort of a smaller one on the bottom, bigger one on the top. Just fix them right here. Very simple. Skewering vegetables, you want to use the round skewers. This is a marugushi, the round skewer, versus the paddle skewer, the teppogushi. You even just compare it side by side. This is just much wider and bigger. And as you skewer something delicate, usually the vegetables, some eggplants, mushrooms, if you have something big as the paddle skewer, it's going to crack open the vegetables. Whereas a thinner round skewer goes nicely in the flesh of these vegetables. Now, I have another skewer right here. It's hard to tell on the screen, but this is a ginnangushi. It's a round skewer, so similar to this one, but the gauge or the thickness is much thinner. This one's about maybe 1 millimeter, 1.5 millimeter, and this is, I want to say 2 to 3 millimeters wide. And this is a ginnangushi, which means ginkgo nut, and this is designed to skewer through the very delicate ginkgo nut, but I like to use this for some of these vegetables that I may be wanting to be very careful about cracking open. Shiitake, and then just cut off the stem right here. Now some shops, they might skewer these whole. I've seen that before, but I like to cut these in half and just lay them out in a way that stacked on top of each other. And then when you're skewering these, make sure to skewer this, I would say towards maybe the bottom, the center of the shiitake. If you go too high up, it's gonna just stick out and rip the shiitake, but just somewhat in the center, maybe a little bit below center. Just gotta be careful you don't crack open the shiitake they make. So for the shishito, this is just like chicken or anything else. We wanna make it easier to eat. The stem you can't eat, so let's remove all the stems. With the shishito peppers, they have different sizes, and so the different lengths, as well as some of them are gonna be straight, some of them are gonna be curved. So I like to match up the curved ones with the curved ones, keep the straight ones with the straight ones. And then you can skewer shishito. You can definitely skewer them just one in, just with the round skewer. However, when you start grilling this, you're gonna notice that it's gonna start spinning around. That's where I like to use 2 skewers, right here too. And for this one, I'm gonna use my little bit narrow, my thinner, this the ginnangushi. Skewer through, basically one on sort of the, I guess, towards the stem, and another towards the front. No real distance in between. I would say this one is about maybe 1.5 centimeters. I'm just gonna do the same on this side. Just keep it somewhat equal. Just keep it on the flat plane of this cutting board. And then lastly, we have these negi, the green onions. Basically same thing as cutting the green onion for the negima. Cut these about 1 inch wide, searing them. So this is basically the negima minus all the chicken. So it's just the negi. Call this the ikadayaki. So we have green onions, shishito, shiitake, zucchini, and the eggplant. All right, let's go ahead and start grilling these vegetables. I have the grill set on the higher position. I want to cook it at a little bit lower temperature so it slowly cooks, and that way it brings out sort of the best sweeter flavors out of these vegetables. Right here, let's go ahead and put eggplant, zucchini, shiitake, and shishito. And right here, the green onions. Move these around a bit to make sure these onions can cook. And I can just shift these around. Some sake. Some salt. The sake just really helps the salt to stick on a little bit better. Blistering already. Get some sake on the other side. Some more salt. So these are vegetable skewers, so they're yasai skewers. But you guys may have seen other skewers where there's pork, beef, seafood, like shrimp skewers, wagyu skewers. Those are not technically considered yakitori because they're not chicken. And those are called kushiyaki. Kushi means skewer. So right here, this is kushi, and yaki means grilled. And kushiyaki restaurants generally serve a wide variety of skewered dishes. We're usually not as extensive on the yakitori menu, but generally maybe the more common yakitori items, so negima, skin, maybe some breast or tenders. But you have, let's say, some sort of a steak skewer, or maybe pork belly skewer, bunch of veggie skewers, and it just allows you to have a variety or different skewers at these restaurants. Now, there is also a yakiton restaurant. So yakitori would be grilled chicken, but yakiton, ton is the word for pork. So yakiton, they provide a variety of pork skewers, whether it's pork belly, pork cheek, pork neck, pork intestines. And so it's a whole course usually based around a variety of grilled pork skewers. And one of my favorite experiences that I had in Japan, in a little bit north of Tokyo, take a train ride at this place called Saitamaya. It is a yakiton place. There is a wait like an hour before, and they just let the doors in and everyone sits around in this U-shaped area. And there's one grill in the middle with basically sort of this older master there, and his son's working there, his wife is working there. And for like a good hour, it's basically like this food show. Maybe about 10 items or so comes out during that hour, and it's just this rush of energy. Everyone is cheersing with each other, so you make friends with the people next to you. So I definitely recommend, if you guys have a chance, to check out Saitamaya. It's about maybe 45 minutes north train ride of Tokyo. It's a very fun experience. It's a yakiton place, so you also can see how non-chicken, it can be very fun. So just having the variety of cuts of pork. All right, so these are sort of cooking up. I'm gonna start dressing these. I have here on the eggplant, this is some miso that I then just watered down a bit with some mirin. You can also use sake. This shiitake, I'm gonna just brush on some tare. Same with the shishito, brush on some tare. This one though, I'm gonna dip right in. As long as the skewer pieces aren't gonna fall into the container, I don't mind dipping it in, but something like the shishito, shiitake, they might fall in, so I'm gonna use a brush. For vegetables, I didn't use any oils, but definitely different shops have different ways to flavor them. I've seen shops use vegetable oil, olive oil, sesame oil, just to really get the different flavors coming out from these skewers. But these are looking good. They're pretty much cooked up. Go ahead and start plating these. The onions, the ikadayaki, shiitake with tare, so the eggplants, just really charring up the miso. If I really want to help char this even further, that's when this torch comes in, get it nice and charred up. More tare on the shishito. Now for the shishito, this is a nice small handful of katsuobushi. Because of the heat, you get that moving, wavy, floaty action right here. So shishito with tare katsuobushi. And then for these zucchinis, crunchy chili oil, slightly spicy, very garlicky. Put that on top. Let's go ahead and Give a nice burn on the top. Zucchini with crunchy chili oil and the miso baked eggplant. All right, so we have here some examples of vegetable skewers. We got the zucchini, shishito, shiitake, negi, nasubi. These are just examples of simple vegetable items that you can serve for your vegetarian or vegan friends, family, as well as just, as I said, in many yakitori shops, they bring out veggie skewers sort of as that pause or palate cleanser in between the chicken item. Definitely nice to have this sort of in your back pocket as a menu item or your repertoire. One of the reasons why I like to serve vegetables is just to help balance out the meal, but I really like this challenge of, hey, can we take something as simple and humble as vegetables, but make it really delicious? And a lot of the condiments that you see on this, simply maybe just tare, just some miso, we got some bonito flakes, and some just chili, garlic. We're not using it to really cover the flavors of the vegetables, just enough to just really bring it out. The vegetables end up as a canvas for absorbing the smoke from the grill, as well as just some of these garnishes on top, and it makes grilling fun. So as I said, these are yasai or vegetables, and it's a broader form of kushiyaki. With kushiyaki, you got all you can do meats, pork, beef, seafood, and other veggies. So definitely I encourage you guys to explore, see what else you guys want to skewer besides chicken. It also just helps me play around with whether it's vegetables or other meats as well, using my grill and seeing what I can play around with and getting out the best umami from each of the dishes. My main focus is really breaking down chicken and learning how to enhance the best parts of the chicken. Whatever I learned from maybe with these vegetables, I can also apply to the chicken as well. A lot of the skewering techniques definitely much easier than skewering chicken. So if you want to practice skewering with some of your family members or friends, maybe start with the vegetable. If you guys have the grill at home and have been making yakitori and want to try other stuff, you have the skewers, you have the grill, go ahead and start making other items, kushiyaki. Just have fun with it. Even at yakitori shops, they may once in a while throw in a special. Here we have a wagyu skewer, or here we have the special shrimp from a local region skewer. They might just throw in that just to kind of give something different. So you don't have to stick exactly to yakitori, but at the same time, my channel, I still want to focus on what we can do with yakitori. I have other vegetables that I want to show you guys too. We got some other mushrooms, got some tomatoes, okra, asparagus, and even potatoes. They're actually, you can make them into skewers. So I definitely want to show some of that maybe in another lesson, but these are my top 5 items that I want to show you guys. So what are your favorite vegetables or other kushiyaki items? Let me know in the comments. And if you have any other questions or feedback about today's lesson or anything else yakitori, also let me know. Definitely write them below in the comments. Always, if you can, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so you'll be notified when the next video is coming up. But that's it for today's lesson. So I have more veggies that I want to work on, and I have other chicken items I want to work on, but hope you guys had fun today, and I'll see you guys in the next lesson. All right, bye guys.